Easy there, Virgil. Shibuki-san here is new to this, and it's not as easy as it looks. Few are chosen to lead and fewer are good at it, said Jiraiya, with Virgil narrowing his eyes at Shibuki, currently sweating under his gaze. This village is unworthy of the power she possesses. This village is unworthy of her loyalty, Virgil finally said before leaving the room. Just who is he? Asked Shibuki, with Jiraiya letting out a sigh. Honestly, I'd say a devil with a human heart, answered Jiraiya, with Shibuki going pale in the face.
What reason do you wish to see Fu for Jiraiya-san? Asked Shibuki, with Jiraiya sitting down in the chair in front of him. We need to warn her about an organization named the Akatsuki. They are hunting down all jinchuriki with the intention of extracting each of the 9 biju from the body of their human hosts, explained Jiraiya, with Shibuki listening further to what the Sannin was now telling him.
With Virgil.
Fools. All of them are blind fools. Just like those in Konoha that see only the weapon, pet, or demon when they look at jinchuriki. They never stop to consider the feelings of the one holding it. Thought Virgil, with his thoughts on the matter making him want to butcher everyone here and say, screw you. To diplomacy. The half-devil only stayed his hand because he had something else in mind to stick it to these bakas. Excuse me, can I help you with anything? Asked a merchant vendor, who saw an out-of-towner when he saw one, and hoped to make some money.
Yes. Can you tell me if you know the general area that Fu lives in outside of Taki? Asked Virgil, with the merchant's smile turning into a frown.
Why? Asked the merchant while trying to be somewhat professional.
Does it matter? Countered Virgil, with the merchant clearly debating on whether or not to tell him.
You should stay away from that monster boy. She's trouble. Pure and simple. We only keep the demonic thing around to use her power to protect us. It's all she's good for. Well, for now anyway, answered the merchant, with Virgil's eyes narrowing at the man. What do you mean exactly when you said, for now anyway, in regards to her? Asked Virgil, with the merchant scoffing slightly. You know what I mean. You're a guy and this demon has a nice female form. In a few more years, the Taki Council will choose only the most worthy of men to take her, and we can produce strong offspring from the act. Granted, she'll probably resist at first, but the demon will break eventually, and Taki will give us a means to continue to grow until we're among the 5 shinobi villages, boasted the merchant.
Really? Asked Virgil discreetly, reaching for the handle of Yamato, with the merchant puffing out his chest, with his eyes closed. Yep. One of the members on the Taki Council happens to be my older brother. He's got a bit of pull on it and assured me I'd be one of the guys chosen to bend that bitch over and make her scream. The merchant exclaimed before letting out a hearty laugh.
I see. Say I wish throw my hat into this ring regarding the girl, but wanted to see her for myself before making that conclusion. Where would I go to see for myself if it's worth it? Asked Virgil, with the merchant looking up in deep thought. Oh, I'd say she's about 10 miles east outside of Taki. She's normally around there during this time of the day since it's where the Taki Council ordered her to be before going. She moves to the northern sector in the next 3 hours. Explained the merchant, as he now pointed east, and then north where Fu would soon be in a few hours.
Thank you, sir. Your last moments living in this world were not wasted by helping me, replied Virgil, as he was in front of the merchant 1 second. Then he was behind the merchant next, and his sword was halfway out of its sheath.
What? Asked the merchant before the sound of Virgil sheathing his weapon fully was heard in the clink sound of the sword's sheath touching the sword's hilt. Blood spurted from the merchant's diagonally upward from his lower torso up to his right shoulder and would have screamed out in pain if not for the kunai lodged deep within his throat. Virgil, of course, was walking away by this point, as the slowly dying man behind him struggled to stand and live while failing on all counts. By the time anyone came to the dead man's side and asked questions on who did this to him, Virgil was already out of sight several blocks down.
He had a jinchuriki to find and rescue from this place. Akatsuki HQ.
Toby slugged Itachi hard in the face for what seemed like the 100th time that day, as the slayer of the Uchiha clan tried to fight back, but was no match for the masked man, and was bleeding all over. Toby had long known Itachi was a spy for Jiraiya to give Konoha information on their actions, and up until now the man behind the Akatsuki had allowed it. Toby wanted the pieces on the chessboard to be mobilizing slowly, but surely at the idea of facing him, and the organization itself. What they lacked in quantity they made up for in quality, with their members being S-ranked shinobi. Now one of their most powerful was gone and his partner, Spy, was on the ground slowly dying.
Have you anything to say before I kill you, Itachi? Asked Toby, with Itachi looking at the masked man, and let a smile appear on his face. Yes, I do actually. I've seen the only person capable of defeating you. He's young, but strong, and one day soon, he'll kill you. I only wish I could have been the one to do it myself. Wishful thinking, I suppose, answered Itachi before making a hand sign, removed the genjutsu on his body, covering him with explosive tags.
When did you do this? Asked Toby, with Itachi making a hand sign, and activated them while grabbing the masked man's leg. Before I came here, I knew you'd lash out at me. I knew my time being a spy for Konoha was up and you'd remove me from play. This probably won't kill someone like you, but I can at least slow you down long enough for your true enemy to gain the strength needed to wipe you out. Explained Itachi before the explosive tags went off and shook the area around them. When the smoke cleared, Toby was banged up, with his mask being cracked, burns, and other wounds revealed throughout his body from what one could see of his torn Akatsuki robes. The masked man looked down at the scorch mark that had once been Uchiha Itachi and scoffed at what the foolish man had done for the sake of the village that had declared him a traitor. Foolish Uchiha. At one point, such a move might have worked against me, but I serve much higher power, and it is through him that I live. You don't have the power to kill me, and neither does the long-line descendant of Sparda. Isn't that right, Emperor Mundus? Asked Toby with a chuckle while a portal opened to reveal the shadowy demonic form with 3 glowing eyes.
Correct, my servant. My time of ascension into your world will happen soon, within 3 years. Gather all of the 9 Biju together. Use their power to open a portal to Demon World so I can enter with my army and conquer it. Do what I command of you, Toby, and the power to rule over human world by my side as my undisputed second in command will be granted, answered Mundus, with Toby nodding in agreement to the ever-intimidating appearance of the Dark Emperor.
As you command, Emperor Mundus, said Toby before he felt the demonic being send energy into him through the portal and healed his damaged body.
Remember this, Toby, if you fail me, your life will be forfeit, said Mundus before the portal closed, and the warning to the masked man echoing throughout the large room. With Virgil. The forest region outside of Taki was filled with life, as was to be expected given the village needed to stay that way in order to remain hidden from its enemies, and even its own allies. This place was truly a wonder of nature's greatness, and the massive tree they had that helped produce the famous hero water that was a powerful drink yet dangerous to use. While a minor village when compared to the other 5, this one minor village could easily turn the tide of a war depending on what side Taki favored, and aided in any potential conflict. Come on out, I know you are here. You can't hide your chakra or that of the Biju you carry from me. Virgil called out, with a small pulse of chakra coming from the trees above to indicate his target had briefly lost composure at being discovered by him. What do you want? Asked the female voice in the trees that no doubt belonged to Fu. To help you, answered Virgil, with silence following his response for a moment.
You can't help me. No one can, countered Fu from above in the shadows of the vast landscape of nature before him.
What makes you say that? Asked Virgil calmly, while sensing the girl was cautious of him, since she apparently had been betrayed quite a bit in her life.
Just like himself.
Because no one has helped me before, and those that claimed they would have not done what they claimed they would do, answered Fu, with Virgil nodding in understanding.
I see. They broke their promise to you and betrayed your trust that has become so fragile as a result of their stupidity. I am not like them, countered Virgil with Fu scoffing at his words in disbelief. And how do you intend to prove that? Asked Fu while she studied Virgil from above. To warn you of two things. First, an organization called the Akatsuki intends to find and capture you for the bijou sealed in your body. They are made up of S-class missing nin and they attack in pairs with their abilities being designed to counter the jinchuriki they are assigned to capture, answered Virgil while feeling Fu's chakra, or rather the chakra of the bijou inside of the girl, pulse slightly at hearing this. You lie, exclaimed Fu, since she didn't want to believe him. Though given how she was raised with distrust for anyone telling her anything, it was to be expected. Not about this. Second, I have heard some news concerning you, and your own future here while guarding Taki, said Virgil while Fu moved to another tree silently to get a better look and be in a better position to strike him down.
What news? Asked Fu with a sense of hope in her voice at being let into the village by the Taki council. Bad news. Apparently, from what I heard from the merchant, who had a key influential family member on the Taki council, they intend to use you as breeding stock in a few short years when your body has matured into a more female figure capable of producing offspring, answered Virgil while sensing her shock at hearing this news before Fu let out a blast of the seven-tailed bijou's chakra and covered the area with killer intent.
You lie. They would never do that. They promised me when the time came that I would be let back into the village as an equal. They promised, exclaimed Fu with Virgil having pinpointed her in the trees and looked right into the girl's eyes.
A lie that is a half the truth is the blackest of lies, the darkest of lies. They promised to let you into the village. Of that, they spoke the truth to you. But the lie that followed in being their equal, that was to ensure you let your guard down so they could spring their trap and tie you down against your will before they violate. More than your trust in them, countered Virgil before moving swiftly to dodge the strike of a spear Fu had in her hand after she jumped from the position in the trees.
She was covered with the chakra of the seven tails and looked livid, with her body now shaking with fury at being told this lie. Or rather what Fu believed to be a lie.
How dare you stand there and lie to me? To claim they would betray my trust and break their promise using some kind of technicality. I will not believe a word you tell me about them. I can't afford to believe you. Without that promise, I will have nothing to show for my loyalty. And I will not be left with nothing, exclaimed Fu as she charged forward, intent on killing this liar and deceiver that drew his sword to deflect her strikes.
You won't be, if you leave Taki and come to Konoha with me, countered Virgil, as he either dodged or blocked Fu's spear strikes. Why? So I can be Konoha's weapon. Be used by Konoha for breeding stock like you claim Taki is going to do to me. Why should I leave one village that intends to betray me for another? Asked Fu angrily with tears falling from her eyes. Because I wouldn't let them do that to you. Because my godmother, who is the Hokage of Konoha, wouldn't let them do that to you, answered Virgil before leaping over Fu when she thrust her spear forward and destroyed several trees upon impact. And how can I trust you to keep your word? How can I trust your Hokage to keep her word? Countered Fu before she watched him sheath his sword and push some of his hair back. Because I don't break my word to anyone. Especially to another jinchuriki like myself. My godmother will keep her word because to betray it would mean she is not worthy of the Senju and Uzumaki blood in her veins, answered Virgil with Fu, looking at him with an intense gaze before her bijou's chakra receded. You are, like me. What biu do you hold? Asked Fu while still watching him, cautious for any hint of deception. Kyubi, simply answered Virgil with Fu's eyes widening. I see. The look in your eyes. I should have seen it sooner. You have had it rough too, said Fu with Virgil nodded. Yes, I have had a horrible life, but that changed after I awakened my power, and gained friends within Konoha I could trust. My godmother being one among them. Come with me back to Konoha and I swear on my devil's blood that no harm will come to you, said Virgil, as he extended his hand to her, and watched Fu hesitate to take it.
And if things don't work out like you hope they do? Asked Fu, since things could always turn bad for them. Then, I'll help you leave and go somewhere safe. I have quite a few influential friends outside of Fire Country, and they all owe me a few favors, answered Virgil with a small smile, with Fu taking his hand and shaking it. I'll hold you to your promise. Break it, and I'll break you, said Fu in a deadly serious tone, with Virgil nodding.
You won't regret this, said Virgil with a genuine smile on his face.
Earth Country 1 week later.
This is the spot. Are you sure? Asked Jiraiya, with Virgil looking at his godfather with an impassive face. Virgil was able to get Fu away from Taki without much fuss and took the full brunt of Tsunade's scolding him for taking the girl away from the village. Even if Taki was going to do what Virgil told her, it could still cause the relations between the two villages to go bad, and the Hokage reminded the half-devil even he had his limits in terms of holding off potential enemies. Virgil countered her words with his own, stating that someone had to do something because the so-called leader Shibuki was too spineless to do anything to help her, and the half-devil wasn't about to see Fu suffer just because good people refused to do anything.
That was how evil won.
Virgil also continued on by asking Tsunade what she would do if Shizune herself was in Fu's situation. Tsunade smashed her desk and told Virgil that he knew damn well what she would do if Shizune were in that situation. The Namikaze just smirked and told her not to complain when he does what she would have in his place. After that, Virgil escorted Fu to his home, where he felt it was for the best that his fellow jinchuriki live until she felt more comfortable in Konoha to possibly have a place of her own if she chose to have it. At the same time, Fu was surprised that Virgil had so many female admirers, and even a fellow jinchuriki like herself living here. Virgil explained the situation to Fu regarding the reason behind so many of her fellow housemates were all female, with himself being the only exception. Fu blushed at the mention of Kin and Tayuya being his slaves, despite the fact the half-devil explained the reason for their current status being much better than a Konoha jail cell awaiting them, with every inmate knowing they were former subordinates of Orochimaru. Though Enko, who was there at the time, didn't help matters when she decided to tell Fu about how Virgil was indeed man of the house, with an emphasis on man, with a mischievous look on her face when saying it. Fu was old and smart enough to catch on after a few seconds before blushing at what Enko was saying, while Virgil gave the special Junin a glare that told the dango-loving woman she was going to pay for that later. I sense them. They are here, answered Virgil before he saw steam surround their area and 2 chakra signatures surrounded the 2 Konoha shinobi. What are you 2 leaf shinobi doing here? Came a growled voice that promised pain if they were provoked.
To talk to the 2 of you. Nothing more, answered Virgil, with Jiraiya looking a bit uneasy since Iwa had 2 full-grown adult jinchuriki on hand.
About what? Came another voice that was firm yet didn't have the edge of the first. To warn you of the threat of an organization dead set on hunting down the 2 of you for what is held within your bodies, explained Virgil, with the steam becoming thicker and the flare of chakra from both Iwa shinobi increased.
Explain, commanded the harsher voice.
The Akatsuki organization seeks all 9 jinchuriki and plans to extract the biju from each one in a quest for ultimate power, answered Virgil, with the 2 hidden jinchuriki being quiet for a moment and he could only guess they were talking amongst each other.
And you know this how exactly? Asked the quieter yet still firm voice of the 2nd jinchuriki. Because they targeted me too. I am just like you 2. I hold QB within my body, answered Virgil while sensing their shock at hearing this news.
We heard rumors about you, boy. Is the rumor that you have the blood of the Yondaime Hokage in your veins true? Asked the gruffer voice. Yes, answered Virgil without fear. He killed a great deal of Iwa shinobi in the last war, said the gruff voice.
It was before my time, and this situation goes beyond the realm of old hatreds created from wounds of the past. This is about survival, our survival. Do you honestly expect to win against the Akatsuki with your Baiju alone? These people coming after us comprise of S-class missing nin, who work in pairs and their skills can disable the power of the Baiju. If you don't prepare for them, they will defeat you, and the end result of the extraction will kill you, countered Virgil with silence being met by his words.
You play a dangerous game coming here. If the Tsuchikage learns of this, he will see it as an act of war, said the gruffer voice. Then I suggest neither of you tell him about this meeting. Just be on your guard and do not engage the Akatsuki unless there is no other choice, said Virgil before he turned around and began to leave to prevent any problems in the realm of shinobi politics. Wait, came the gruffer voice.
Yes, asked Virgil.
Thank you for telling us about the Akatsuki. You could have done nothing, but instead you came here to tell us something, and that means something. We may not sound like we're grateful, but that's only because our lives have never been pleasant, and there has always been a catch when someone gives us something, said the softer yet firm voice before coming out of the shadows to reveal it was an extremely tall, well-armored man being the source of the steam.
Beside him was the red-haired man with equally red beard, with hard eyes still looking out for any possible threat.
The only thing I will ever ask of you two is to trust me. I gain nothing from your deaths and I will not see a fellow jinchuriki suffer further. Know that my home will always be a sanctuary should either of you require one from either Iwa or the Akatsuki, said Virgil before he continued to walk away with Jiraiya walking away. Quick question Gaki, said Jiraiya with Virgil looking at him. What's the question? Asked Virgil with Jiraiya scowling. Why did you bring me along? You didn't need me here for this, exclaimed Jiraiya with Virgil letting a smirk appear on his face. Sure I did. If there was fighting, who better to be used as cannon fodder than the great Jiraiya of the Sannin, replied Virgil with Jiraiya face planting into the ground with his leg twitching in the process. You were going to use me as a human shield in the event we had to fight those two or Iwa shinobi, accused Jiraiya after getting off the ground and pointing a finger at Virgil. Human shield is such a strong pair of words Jiraiya. I was thinking using the old adage of, age before beauty, replied Virgil with a chuckle leaving his throat while a growl left Jiraiya. Why you little, exclaimed Jiraiya, who now gave chase after his godson, and soon found out the hard way that chasing after a half-devil was not in the best interest of his health. How the boy could move so fast for so long was beyond Jiraiya and personally, it was too damn tiring on his old body to catch up.
Konoha sometime later.
Well, at least you prevented an incident from happening with Iwa. Taki is still bitching about you taking food from them and they even suspect you for killing a merchant who has a brother on the Taki Council. He's demanding your head, said Tsunade while Virgil sat there with an expressionless face. Considering he was going to have his brother be among those taking part in the breeding program used for Fu, I should probably let my displeasure be known to him, and then run Yamato through the gutless pig. So by all means arrange the meeting, replied Virgil, as he saw Tsunade's eyebrow twitch, and looked displeased though the half-devil didn't see what she would be at him. The Taki Council was the one planning such a thing with Fu, not him. Look Virgil, I know you hate the Taki Council, and Taki in general for treating Fu like some guard dog, said Tsunade, but Virgil raised a hand to stop her before he stood up, and walked over to the desk, and leaned over it.
Your mistake, Hokage-sama. I hate everyone in Taki. Not just the general population of civilians. I also hate their shinobi for going along with this. I hate the Taki Council for the plan they created to use Fu as breeding stock. I even hate that spineless leader Shibuki for not standing up and taking control of how Fu was being treated away from the Taki Council. While his attitude towards Fu is not like the rest of the village, the fool does nothing to change things, and I will not allow such acts of cruelty befall any of my fellow jinchuriki, because people like him in their seat of power sit on their ass while watching the events unfold without batting an eyelash, exclaimed Virgil in cold and intense voice that was equaled only to that of his cold eyes.
Does that include me? Asked Tsunade with Virgil shaking his head. No, you are not like them. You're taking this job seriously, with the exception of your occasional drinks of sake, said Virgil with Tsunade getting a tick mark on her forehead. So this business with Taki? Asked Tsunade while trying to direct the topic back to the minor village. They didn't like her to begin with and treated Fu like some guard dog pet. Why should I give a crap about what they want when what they want is to turn Fu into baby-making factory? Unless they change their opinions about all jinchuriki in general and not just to get her back. I say screw them, answered Virgil before leaving the room. That Gaki is going to be the death of me, said Tsunade while looking at the window with Jiraiya sitting there nodding. I know what you mean. Still, he has a point, Tsunade Heim. If we had done something in the past and protected Naruto, he wouldn't have come out so bitter, replied Jiraiya with regret in his voice. I know, Jiraiya. Things just spiraled out of control. Virgil has started to become cold to us and warm to a select few. I think when he sees the two of us, he keeps seeing all those that betrayed or wronged him. The older generation still alive is a constant reminder of the past, and while he's starting to heal, it might not be enough, countered Tsunade, as she had Inoichi do a current psychological evaluation on her godson with the current data on hand and Inoichi's own observations. The results were less than encouraging.
Virgil has no love or real loyalty towards the village. You are worthy of that from what I've gathered, and fewer among the old generation are worthy of that honor. Once you have his trust, you dare not break it, because the trust of a man constantly betrayed all his life has far more value than gold, and Virgil's trust has more value than all the gold in the land. You gain his trust, his acknowledgement as a friend and loved one. Cherish it no matter what. A man who has been betrayed so many times, if betrayed by someone close to him, will unleash a fury no man wants to see, and given Virgil's powers, I don't think the world could survive his wrathful hand.
That's an understatement when you consider his right hand, thought Tsunade, as she had seen it change when angry, and could really do some damage with a limb. And that was without chakra or any other energy for that matter.
I've also got some bad news regarding Itachi, said Jiraiya, which brought Tsunade out of her thoughts, and focus on the new matter at hand.
What happened? Asked Tsunade with Jiraiya looking grim. He's dead. Given the nature of his assignment, I put a seal put on him in secret that told me of his death, and sent a scroll to be as proof as such. No one knew about the seal on him except myself, Itachi, our sensei, and now you. Itachi also knew he was going to die soon, so he also made sure a scroll was sent to me listing all the current members of the Akatsuki, and all the detailed information about the organization he knew from his time there, answered Jiraiya while producing a massive scroll and tossed it to Tsunade for the woman to open. The leader of the Akatsuki is not the true leader? Asked Tsunade, as she saw the name, Pain, with the title, Official Leader, at the top of the hierarchical structure Itachi had made up of the organization, with a woman named Conan next to it, and saw another by the name of Toby above those two marked down as Unofficial Leader. Yeah, from what Itachi sent me in a message with that scroll, it seems Toby is the true leader, and knew about him being a spy from the start. This guy even helped Itachi in killing the Uchiha clan, since Itachi just planned to kill the adults while the children were going to be spared. Apparently Toby didn't want that and decided to do what Itachi could not in his place by killing off the children there, explained Jiraiya with Tsunade rubbing her forehead at hearing this news. So our means to know what the Akatsuki are planning shortly after planning it have just become lost to us, replied Tsunade with Jiraiya nodding. Yeah, I have other contacts within the organization, but I can't get anyone that close again, and if we tried, this Toby guy would see it coming a mile away, answered Jiraiya with Tsunade cursing upon hearing this news. Okay, let's do a head count on the jinchuriki. Gaara in Suna is 1, no pun intended of course, then there is Yugito, who is here in Konoha with Naruto, and just recently Fu has joined us here. From what I've been told, the Raikage's little brother Killer Bee in Kumo is 1, 2 are in Iwa, and 1 in Mist with another going rogue, said Tsunade with Jiraiya nodding in agreement. Yeah, but the one in mist just happens to be the Mizukage, and even that may not be for long. The rebels are getting close to defeating him. It won't be long now before they are successful in overthrowing him, which will most likely lead to his death, and a waiting period for the Three Tails to reform, explained Jiraiya while Tsunade looked over the information gathered on the Akatsuki.
Maybe we should speed that situation in mist along, Tsunade said in a thoughtful tone, while Jiraiya looked at her with wide eyes.
Seriously, isn't that bad politically? Asked Jiraiya with Tsunade sighing since he did have a point due to the problems around mist were in-house matters. Normally the answer would be yes. Fortunately, that's only if we send out a large force that would get a lot the attention of the other villages. I'm going to send Virgil there to handle the situation, explained Tsunade with Jiraiya raising his eyebrows again. But, the Gaki is already notorious throughout the elemental countries. Word has gotten out about how he took down the three-headed demon in Snow Country. The bingo book already classified him as being an S-ranked shinobi and have already started calling him Konoha's Demon Slayer. Kind of ironic considering what he holds when you think about it, explained Jiraiya with Tsunade sighed again at his words.
I know, but if the rebels win with his help, they will be more open to an alliance with us in the future to help combat the Akatsuki since the organization is a threat to everyone, explained Tsunade with Jiraiya, nodding in agreement to that. When do you want him to leave for this mission? Asked Jiraiya with Tsunade, looking down in thought over the matter. We'll give him at least another week before telling Virgil about the mission. He needs to relax a bit and spend time with those close to him, answered Tsunade with Jiraiya giving a nod of understanding.
You should spend time with him too, Tsunade. Being Hokage is all well and good in terms of protecting Virgil from a seat of power. But he needs you on an emotional level too. We are his godparents after all, replied Jiraiya with Tsunade letting out a sigh and thought back to that cursed necklace on her godson's neck. I'm trying, Jiraiya. I just hope that necklace's cursed power isn't going to strike when I least expect it, said Tsunade with Jiraiya smirking at her. I think that so-called curse left the Showdime's necklace the moment you gave the damn thing to Virgil, countered Jiraiya while Tsunade smirked now too. Perhaps you're right, Jiraiya. I'll spend time with him in a few days, said Tsunade with Jiraiya grinning now before jumping out the window after hearing that.
Namikaze Estates, sometime later. Virgil was spending his time training Fu into being more aggressive with her spear, and not using the Nanabi's power. It wasn't easy for Fu since she drew on the Baiju's power almost instinctively every time she fought someone. The seal on her was designed for that very purpose, so she could overwhelm her opponents with the Baiju's power instantly. So Virgil did what he could since tampering with Fu's seal was not possible, and the half-devil made a mental note to study heavily in the sealing arts, so this situation could be corrected in the future.
Enough, commanded Virgil before putting Yamato away.